I'd like to call the meeting of the Village of Westchester trustees to order. It is 7:08 p.m. In absence of President Puglia, I, the Deputy Clerk, Jessica Spencer, am calling the meeting to order, and I'm going to take the roll call. I have Trustee Calcagno.
Present.
Trustee Celestino.
Present.
Trustee Perry.
Present.
Trustee Stecker.
Present.
Trustee Yurkovich.
Present.
And Trustee Rita is absent, as well as President Puglia.
Thank you. In light of the absence of the village president, I'd like to make reference to a portion of the Illinois Municipal Code 65 IL CS 5/3.1-35-35 provides, in the absence of the president, the corporate authorities may elect one of their members to act as a temporary chairman. The temporary chairman shall have the powers of a presiding officer and a right to vote in the capacity of trustee on any ordinance, resolution, or motion. In accordance with that, if someone would please make a motion nominating one of your members to serve as the temporary chairman.
I'll motion.
You need a name. Who do you want to nominate?
Nicholas Stecker.
Thank you, sir. And we need a second.
Second.
Are there any other nominations? It would appear that the nominations are closed. If the clerk please call for a roll call vote on the motion to designate Trustee Stecker as the temporary chairman.
Trustee Calcagno.
Aye.
Trustee Celestino.
Aye.
Trustee Perry.
Aye.
Trustee Yurkovich.
Aye.
Trustee Stecker.
It's okay to vote for yourself. Thank you. Okay, it's your show.
If everyone would please stand for the pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Presentations, do we have any this evening?
We do not.
Public comments and questions. In order to give as many visitors as possible an opportunity to speak, and in the interest of adjourning the meeting by 9, please limit your comments to 3 minutes in length, unless we give you a little bit more time. We will open it up for comments and questions on the active agenda or general matters.
James Rhea, I live on Kensington Avenue.
I'm sorry, sir, could you
Jessica's microphone on.
James Rhea, I live on Kensington Avenue. I just got a question on the cell tower. You know, the contract was contingent on the board okaying or disapproving it, and they disapproved it, but yet we have to go to court, and I guess we're not going to do that, to fight that our ruling can stand. I mean, so in other words, we're going to have a federal judge decide if we have it or don't have it?
Yes, sir, that's exactly the case. Under the Telecommunications Act, the party that petitioned for the installation of the cell tower has the right for review by the federal district court. The matter is up actually on Thursday for a status hearing in the federal district court in downtown Chicago. So at the end of the day, a federal judge is going to decide what happens with respect to that application.
Okay, did the village go to that meeting with the federal magistrate on the 25th?
We certainly did.
You guys,
Pardon me?
We'll find out about what happened in the paper, or
I'm sure there'll be an
Tell us.
update in the
Well, nothing's happened. It was a conference with a federal magistrate, and the parties attended the conference, and now we have to go back to court on Thursday. So,
once it's resolved, I'm sure there'll be an update in the newsletter for everyone. For the gentleman that just walked in, we're in public comments and questions. I don't know if you guys are interested.
My name is Rocky. It's my partner Alex. I apologize. We couldn't find the entrance. We were going in circles.
We're going to need a last name. I'm sorry for the record, a last name.
I'm Rocky Bala. He's Alex Alam. A little bit about us. We went to DePaul University. We were roommates. We own 20 truck stops in central Illinois to southern Illinois. We have about 250 employees that work for us. Within our truck stops, we have restaurants, pizzerias, fried chicken restaurants. About a year ago, my wife started going to Cooper's Hawk all the time and spending a lot of money at Cooper's Hawk. And I was like, what is this Cooper's Hawk? And all my friends' wives, they're all going to Cooper's Hawk. And I went there once, and they got this beautiful bistro where there's like a monthly wine club, and there's tastings, and there's a big trend with wine, and especially with the higher-end wine and the meats and cheeses and the food. So we came up with the concept with Battaglia out of Chicago. Battaglia is the largest Italian wholesaler. Tanazzi's their wine. Tanazzi all comes from Italy. So we're making these beautiful wine bistros with Italian wines and Italian meats, cheeses, desserts. Our build-out's really expensive. I grew up in Hillside, so I'm familiar with Westchester. So my childhood was here, so I told my partner, let's go to Westchester and let's open our concept over here. We're opening one in Round Lake, down in Centralia, Bloomington, Peoria. We live out here. He lives in Oak Brook, I live in South Barrington. So we're local people, and this is what we're kind of branching off into. I personally feel that if we can have a to-go license and a combination license, we can start a monthly wine club. We can create a cultural following.
I'm sorry, are you already open in town?
And no. I'm not in Westchester at all, and we're looking for a location, but somehow I think Mr. Alam talked to this lady here, and she was nice enough to bring us to this board meeting and kind of communicate with you guys what we want to do and how we want to do it.
So, Mr. Bala, it's my understanding that you're presenting a business plan here to get a climate, whether the
Yeah.
board would approve such a
Yeah,
thing?
because yes.
Now, you're not planning on having video gaming in the location? It would just be entertainment and
Well,
wine and
all
appetizers?
of our bars and restaurants that we have in Southern Illinois have the gaming. It's like dartboards, but they're not like the place across the street. It's not
No,
like.
but it's a consideration for the board if
Oh,
if
yeah,
they're
no, we
looking
will-
at you
No,
know,
we will have it in a
considering
secluded
it.
area, but it's not our primary business.
How big of a place are you talking, square foot wise?
We want to go big. 2,000. The rents are high here. 2,000 square feet, maybe. It's hard to find the right size, and we had some towns that really wanted our concept. We couldn't find the right location, but 2,000 plus. So we're definitely not what you're thinking, what you see across the street.
So, beer and wine menu, no hard liquor?
No hard liquor, no. Craft beers, imported wines. We'll have a grocery section, maybe 15 feet, telling groceries, cheeses, olive oils, bottles of wine. You can take it to go.
I like that. I would be, of course I like that, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jack.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
So they're not sandwiches, just, it's a,
Jessica?
She wanted me to make something clear. When I meant by dartboards, I meant like every bar has those machines. It's
Yeah,
how
I
you,
understand.
it's how you market them. Like we're not a gaming parlor. It's just secondary income to offset, our overall operation.
Have you guys looked at locations already in town?
We have one. We have a connection with the real estate development of Family Video. They're leaving Chicagoland.
Okay,
And they're converting their properties into strip malls.
okay.
So the only place I can think of is they're going to convert that to a strip mall, and we can get into it. That's one location.
Okay.
We found a couple of for rent signs off of the adjacent road back here. Wolf Road. We found some on Wolf Road. But we haven't dug too deeply because we wanted to feel the climate and make sure that we have some blessings before we go forward.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've got no problem with
yeah,
that.
So
as far as I'm concerned, like, I had lunch at Cooper's Hawk today, and I love the concept. My only concern is that, a lot of these mom and pop shops that we have here, are 600 square feet. And then
No.
everybody says that they want to have this great concept, and then there's, 3 seats and then just a
Right.
bunch of gaming machines.
That's why I asked
And
how
we've been-
big they wanted to go.
Yeah, and we've been trying to get away from just setting up gaming machine places everywhere here in town, where if you're actually going to gear more towards dining, the wine,
Yes.
and just have this.
When you walk into my place, 2,000 square feet is really expensive, rent-wise. I mean, it's a big investment to build it out and have that kind of monthly rent. When you walk into my place, you're not going to see anything that's other than wine, meats, cheeses, chandeliers, granite. It's just going to be like the picture that I
Now, let me
present.
ask you this, your other places, are they all called Bella's Bistro?
Most of our places, well, we got one in Elk Grove, and the same thing happened. The town loved us. The location we found, see, these landlords, what they do is they kind of string you along until they get Jimmy John's or until they get a national tenant. So we're trying to get in there. We're building in Round Lake sooner than later. It's just taking permits.
Okay.
So I don't have one officially open yet. No, I do not. But I could tell you is I'd be honored to open it here because I grew up around here. It would mean a lot to me.
So you don't have any build-outs going up yet, or?
No, I have bars in Central Illinois. I have several sports bars. I have restaurants. So I have tons of experience. We own a large company. And this whole idea, like, we teamed up with Battaglia, so I don't have the Italian concept up yet, but we will have a bodega, an Italian market to go. So we want a license that can combine both of those ideally. But nothing is open as of now.
Two questions. So you're going to be primarily a bar
Yes.
that serves also antipasta-like items?
Yes. Freshly cut in front of you.
Okay. And you mentioned about Family Video. So does that mean they're looking to close their store?
No, see, Family Video, see, Blockbuster went under because they never owned real estate. Family Video, luckily, they own all their real estate, so they're not closing it, but from what I'm seeing, they're chopping them up. Like, they're
Okay, so
giving out
the thought is they're going to reduce their footprint of that business, and it would open up some space at this particular
Yes.
spot.
Eventually
And
they will
that's-
leave.
And that's what you're thinking of, that's your primary location right there?
That location is the only one that we know
Available in
that
town?
we have a connection where we can get in. It's not going to be 6 months of obstacles. Because Chicagoland is a lot different than Central Illinois. There's- We found one on Wolf Road.
If I'm not mistaken, our current liquor license is that food has to.
Right, we're looking
account
for food to be approximately 50% of the business.
Food and alcohol?
No.
No, food.
Food of the business
Okay.
generally is what they're looking for.
Okay.
But what you would need to do then, it seems like nobody has a severe objection to the concept. Once you have a location, because you would need to present a signed lease
Yeah.
for at least 1 year in order to apply for a liquor license here. And that would be your first step. So once you have a location and a lease, then I would contact the village and we'll get you on an agenda to talk about applying then for your liquor license.
I appreciate it. Any questions? Any concerns? I hope you guys are excited about us trying to come in this town. We really are. It means a lot to me and him.
Well, let's put it this way, you wouldn't still be talking if we were turned off right away.
Okay.
We would have let you know right
No,
away.
it means, you know that Emilio's Tapas is, I mean, I grew up on this street. There was a rug store down the street, so it means a lot to me to be back here so many years later and trying to do actual business there.
No, we appreciate it.
It means a lot.
Yeah.
You guys are a great community. Thank
So
you.
once you do have that location, give us a call and we'll let you know the next steps.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Anything else from the public? All right. Moving forward, then, we're going to go to the consent agenda. Item A is going to be the approval of the record of bills ending September 8th in the amount not to exceed $720,863.13. The approval of the minutes from August 23rd Village Board meeting, the Committee of the Whole, and the executive session, all on that day. The approval of the departmental monthly reports consisting of community development, police and fire, and public works. An ordinance amending Chapter 2.60 entitled Water Department of Title II entitled Administration and Personnel of the Westchester Municipal Code. E, an ordinance amending Chapter 5.36 entitled Liquor Sale of Title V entitled Business Licenses and Regulations of the Westchester Municipal Code. An ordinance amending Chapter 11.35 entitled Seizure and Impoundment of Motor Vehicles used in the commission of certain offenses of Title 11 entitled Vehicles and Traffic of the Westchester Municipal Code of the Village of Westchester. An ordinance waiving the requirements of the Village of Westchester purchasing policies and procedures manual, and ratifying the purchase of 2 emergency sirens from Federal Signal Corp. in the amount of $24,474.90. H, an ordinance waiving the requirements of the Village of Westchester Purchasing Policies and Procedures Manual and ratifying the execution of an agreement with Braniff Communications, Inc. for installation of 2 emergency sirens in an amount of $13,960. And a resolution advising and consenting to the appointment of certain officers. Do I have a motion and a second?
So
for the
moved.
consent
Second.
agenda? Tommy and Frankie? Need a roll?
Yes, I just want to add to the, for the Open Meetings Act purposes, the appointment of the officer is for the appointment of Dr. Tom Sullivan to the Fire Pension Board. And so you need a roll call vote.
Just a little bit more.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
You can refer to him as Trustee Stecker
yeah,
still.
that's right.
He's just the temporary chairman. That's a big mouthful.
The honorable.
All right, all those in favor have said aye.
Okay, that passed.
This passed. Gonna move on to the active agenda. Nothing appears to be on the active agenda.
No.
We will move forward then to the manager's report.
Just one thing of note this evening. We're very pleased to announce that the Westchester Fire Department has been awarded the Assistance to Firefighters Grant that Chief Adams applied for. The grant is going to fund 95%, approximately $79,000, of the installation of sprinkler and fire alarm systems at both Station 1 and Station 2. And I do have to note that I did get certified mail from the fire department indicating our non-compliance with our current code. So the grant is very timely. The grant performance period is 1 year from the date of the award, and I just want to remind everybody we did budget to put those to come into compliance and install those systems, so this grant is going to be well used. They're going to start looking at bidding for a vendor shortly, so congratulations, Jim. This is a great accomplishment. And that's all I have this evening.
Great job, Jim. Attorney's report.
Yes, Chief Adams and I met with the fire union representatives and their legal counsel this morning and finalized a policy regarding overtime procedures. But what I wanted to advise the board is at the conclusion of that meeting, the union president and the comment that he made was reiterated by the union's attorney with regard to the upcoming promotional exam for fire lieutenants. If you recall, there was an issue under the last contract, the previous contract, regarding eligibility. It's a 5-year eligibility. There was a dispute as to whether or not someone who would have had 5 years experience on the actual expiration date of that agreement could sit for the test. But since that list had been exhausted, there was an issue raised. I'm pleased to report that the union president and the union's legal counsel took the position today, affirming what they had said about a week ago, that the way the contract reads currently, that person would not be eligible unless they had actually 5 years of experience at the time that the list was exhausted. So the BFPC is free to commence testing whenever the BFPC decides to do so. I think we've advised previously there's no legal requirement by law to undertake that testing, yet the 180-day clock doesn't start until there's a vacancy, but there's no impediment with regard to contract interpretation holding that up. So I thought I'd just bring that to the board's attention.
Thank you. That was going to be brought up in the committee of the whole under item B.
Right.
So, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I just want to clarify, so I guess I'm looking for maybe a little bit of feedback from the board. We had budgeted this fiscal year costs to be incurred for a lieutenant's exam, so it's up to the board, well, ultimately the commission, but the board had decided they would wait until there was a vacancy. But given the current information, I guess.
Should we just go over that in the committee of the whole? or-
Yeah, we
Oh,
should just
okay.
undertake that then.
Sorry.
Yep.
We'll wait.
That's all I had, thank you.
Board member reports. Frankie,
I have nothing new to report with EDC.
Tommy?
Nothing.
Nothing this evening.
Two things, thank you. One, just to inform the board, this weekend, we were supposed to have our, Environmental Sustainability Commission was gonna have our monthly electronic recycling. And throughout the week, there was an issue regarding weather. And earlier in the week, on Wednesday, actually, we were supposed to have a slight chance of some rain, which we ended up getting, from what I understand, a possible microburst. We had trees damaged, we had a ton of rain. So when it came time for Saturday morning to come around, I was following all the weather reports and all the weather apps, and including the one that we use here. They were calling for rain and possibly bad storms. And because the company that brings the truck and the personnel is coming from out of town, they had to be notified basically no later than 6 a.m. So at 6 a.m., after checking, and there was threat of bad weather. And let me just preference, during the week, I had made several, through social media, not only reminding people of the event, but I made another post saying there was a possibility that we may have to cancel because of weather. And if so, a cancellation will be put through social media, and at 6 o'clock in the morning, with that looming problem, I pulled the plug. I did not want to see, basically I have to worry about the health, welfare, and safety, not only of my members, but the adults that help out, the students, and the children. And that was why I pulled the plug. Unfortunately, or let's say fortunately, we didn't get the inclement weather. But unfortunately, some people were upset. And I just want to say, I don't take this matter lightly. I hated to do it. It was the second time in 5 years that we had to do it. The first time was over 2 years ago. Trustee Calcagno can remember, because we were over here in the back behind the fire station where it rained all morning, and we were in calf-high water. And when it started raining again, we basically took shelter in the metal storage facilities. And then when it started lightning, then we thought, we're standing in metal boxes surrounded by water. That's when we canceled it. So, like I said, it was something I did not want to risk having that happen, because we do have a lot of parents drop their children off at, say, 8:30 and pick them up at 11:30. If they would have been dropped off and we would have had to cancel this midstream, I don't know where I'm going to put these. Like I said, the health, welfare, and safety of all my volunteers are my biggest priority. So we are going to have one more event in October, on October 8th. It also will be a shredding, and because of this, and we're also going to talk about making contingency plans if there is another rain event. So, but I wanted to make everybody, some people, there's been a little chatter on Facebook, and I just wanted to let you know if your neighbors come to you and say, why, when there was no weather, that was the reason why, because I just didn't want to take the chance at that. One other thing real quick, September 24th, we're planning on doing a village-wide distribution of leaf bags. I've asked for volunteers. It's been in the newsletter. I've been contacting some of the schools, and we're going to try to get volunteers to come out on Saturday the 24th, come here at 9 a.m., load up cars, load up trucks, and literally hit the streets to get as many of these leaf bags brought out on one day. And then after, have a luncheon for all the volunteers. So if you, like I said, everybody's also welcome to come. And if you have any questions, please contact me. And if you can, anybody's interested in helping out, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you very much.
All right. You'll basically hear my report in the committee of the whole. But I do want to make a special point to recognize that the village lost a longtime resident, someone who touched a lot of the children in our community's lives, and any resident that she met. Lucille Perry passed away on September 4th. She was the mother of Trustee Frank Perry, loved by everyone, and I think that Father Joyce said it best in the church, with her being a longtime teacher at Divine Infant. He says anyone can love their own kid, but it takes a real special person to love someone else's. And Mrs. Perry definitely did that. I had her as a teacher, and many of us here, we all knew her, but some of us at the time knew her as well. So I just wanted to recognize her, Frank.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you.
That's all I have. I think Carl's could sub for the president's report for the length. Good job with this. Executive session. Do we have anything for executive session?
Do you want to get staff?
Oh, I'm sorry, staff. Jimmy.
You good?
Yeah, the only thing I got is I got three firemen starting in 2 weeks here.
Hallelujah.
I've got Brian Chapp and Eric Micah starting on September 23rd.
Okay.
And September 26th, I have Brandon Basic starting. They all seem like really good candidates. Kind of really excited, and they already, those three kind of seem to know each other probably through the whole testing process that they have between all the departments and everything. So looking forward to getting them on board, and looking forward to starting basically their new careers with us. So.
Sounds good. I'm going to say it as I promised to do every meeting, but I really, really would like us to get the fourth guy and fill in all the vacancies that the chief has. We just saved how much money that was budgeted for previously with the grant, with the FG grant?
$79,000.
$79,000. I think with that and the roof that we have, I think the chief might be able to find something else if he needs to find that salary. I'm going to continue to say it. I think we need to be fully staffed in the fire department. I'll say it every meeting until I get this guy. So I'm going to ask the board members if anyone else would support that. I'd like to get that fourth guy hired. Anybody?
I'm good. I'll support it.
Mike, is this something that we could discuss at is it something that we discuss at executive session or committee of the whole first, or?
You have the ability to discuss it in executive session, since it's for the appointment of an employee, so.
Yeah, because I'm kind of in support of it too, and like to have some more discussion on it.
Carl, how do you feel about it?
No problem.
All right. Frankie, you good? All right, look at that. All right, well, hopefully we're going to have some more discussion on that.
And we just happen to have an executive session for appointment of employees tonight,
Look at that.
so.
We'll have some more discussion in just a little bit. Chief Stelter?
I'd just like to bring up, on October 5th, I'm going to start bringing back the Citizens Police Academy to the police department.
Oh, nice.
So anybody interested in participating, board members are welcome also. But applications are online on the police department website. You can stop by the department and get one as well. And we're going to start at October 5th, and we'll run through December 14th, every Wednesday night for 3 hours, 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. And learn an array of topics, learn how the police department works, and anywhere from traffic stops, to DUI enforcement, to terrorism, to the SWAT, the bomb, the dogs, all that stuff, everything that goes into the police department, as well as ride-alongs if people want to go on ride-alongs. So sign up, come on out, and it's all available online. And then I'd just like to give a shout out to my midnight sergeant, Roy Newton, who observed some smoke come out of a house last night, and it turned out to be a little bit of an attic fire going on. And the officers responded, got the people out of the house, fire department showed up, took care of the situation. But it was good alert, driving to, especially at 2:30 in the morning when it's dark, and observing that. So made a good find on that.
Thanks.
Chief, I'm sorry, I'm not sure you're aware of this, but Westchester has a tradition that at the police academy, during the taser demonstration, that's usually one of the elected officials. No, I wanted to make sure you knew it wasn't the village attorney. It's one of the elected officials that submits to that.
Wait, gets to do the tasing.
No, gets to receive the tasing, so.
generally the junior.
Carl, you're up.
Since Celestine's not here, maybe we vote on the one that's
Oh,
not
yeah,
here.
the one that's
so-
not here, that's always, how that happens too. All right. Robert?
Just two items. We're required by our MS4 permit to post certain documents on our website, and just to let the board know, we've posted our stormwater management plan and our public works yard stormwater management plan. Those are available on our website, as well as our MS4 permit given to us by the EPA for discharge of untreated stormwater from our streets into Addison Creek and Salt Creek. So all those permits and all those documents have been posted on our website under Public Works, Stormwater Management. There's also 12 fact sheets there. Should help homeowners deal with rainwater on their properties. So when you have spare time, make sure you check out the website and all the new documents that are there. Second item I have for you is that FEMA is conducting their final review of the floodplain amendment request for the Mayfair project area. That meeting is tomorrow at V3's office. They're going to review our hydraulic model that was put together, and we would hope that in the next couple weeks they're going to make a final determination on taking out, I think there's a little over 100 homes that are in the floodplain, south of Carlisle, north of 31st Street, west of Sunnyside, and east of Mayfair. So we should have that determination within the next 10 days or so.
All right, Melissa?
Good evening. I just have a couple things tonight. EDC had their High Ridge meeting last Thursday at the library, and their next one is coming up on October 4th for the Fountain District, and it'll be at Real Living Gober Realty, and it'll be an after hours. So that's our first one that'll be held in the evening. And just so everybody knows, one business opened last month. There were 212 permits issued. 264 inspections were completed, and it was about $6.4 million in construction value. So that's all that I have.
Madam Clerk?
Yes. I was approached by the food pantry. They are trying to change things up to make things a little easier on the staff. Right now, if residents or non-residents come in and identify that, that they live within our service area, which is basically the community that touched Westchester, they're able to present an ID to prove that they live in the service area, and then the front office staff will go get a bag or two and provide it to that person. It can be time consuming, especially during specific times of the year when the office staff are doing other things. So the food pantry has proposed having office hours out of the food pantry, but specifically out of the community room for 2017. They've approached me and asked if they can reserve the community room for the entire day of every Wednesday for all of 2017. This would allow them to offer the people who need their services a couple of different times to come in. They're asking me for the whole day, but I don't know if they're going to be open all day. I was told that they needed 2 hours a week to be available, but there is a lot of ups and setting up and tearing down because the community room is a publicly used room, and they pull the food out and they do allow some selection of certain items so that the person has, if someone needs baby food but somebody doesn't, they can choose a little bit more. So I was asking if you had a preference to letting them use the community room. They're asking for it for the whole day, so there aren't, I believe there was one committee that was meeting in the community room on Wednesdays, but I don't see a problem with moving them to the courtroom. And really, based on this year, there hasn't been too much traffic. So
I'm good with it.
Steve, would you be able to have your Citizens Police Academy in the courtroom?
well, he's only meeting through December. You said October through December, and they would start in January, so it wouldn't interfere.
Okay. My concern was
Well-
having that much time allocated to one organization.
They're meeting during the day hours, I mean,
They're
normal
asking
business
for the
hours?
entire day.
But
Even
but
the
only
evening?
until like 5 o'clock, I'm assuming, correct?
No.
They want the whole day. They've had, I mean, usually, like, I don't know if you're aware, the fourth Saturday of each month of 2016, they've been open from 9 until 1. But in order to be available 9 to 1, for people to come in and pick up food and they get fresh produce that they hand out at that time, they're here pretty much all day Friday, typically after 5 o'clock, because that's when their volunteers are available because the volunteers work.
That's,
So they would come in and set up the night before, and then they're available.
but that's once a month. So they
That's
have a
once a month.
commitment right now for,
With the village,
to man
yeah.
this once a week?
But they would change it, so they would no longer have, the girls up front wouldn't help at all. If they had people come in, they would say, you have to come in on Wednesday at whatever specific hours they set. And I believe they would cancel the fourth Saturday, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with it, but I'm just kind of concerned that
But-
it's a volunteer thing and they're going to commit to a whole
Year.
long day every week.
I don't believe they would be here from 7 a.m.
Well, if they're gonna have, if they're setting up every Friday or every third Friday, like you're saying, they're gonna have to set up every Tuesday, I'm assuming, or Wednesday morning.
They
I
would,
would imagine
they
that
wouldn't
there
be
would
allowed to.
Right, because we can't have the room locked down on Tuesday night and all day
Right.
Wednesday. There's
Correct.
too much
Well,
They're going to have to maybe,
Start at like 11.
give us, give some more detail to
yeah,
how they plan on executing that every Wednesday.
And it would also be a consideration if we want to limit them to possibly 2 days a month, every other week.
every bi-weekly or something, yeah. See, I mean,
Well, because of that space might be needed elsewhere for other things.
Right.
Well, it's a volunteer thing, and
What
you know,
about
you
an
just,
end time at like 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. or
I think they were looking to allow people who are working to come in after work, but,
That would
um,
foreclose you from having any night
right.
usage of that
Everything.
room.
It would completely lock the room out every Wednesday, so that's my concern.
I like that they are doing well. I know that.
They're doing a great
They're
job.
doing a great job.
But if it almost seems they're starting to outgrow us.
but if you
so.
only get, one or two people, one person that shows up that Wednesday, yeah, then you,
They had told Jessica they were servicing, 75 to 100 people a month right now? And people can only come in and get food
right,
once a
but they're
month.
not servicing them. It seems like
Our-
more
the front
the front
office.
office is doing it.
Right.
And it's,
do the girls in the front office, like, mark down?
Yes,
but-
Yes.
there's a log.
Okay.
And they have to show ID.
There's an intake form that you fill out the first time, naming like your family members, where you live, how long have you been in this situation. And then every time they come in, the girls check their name off the list, so we keep track of how many.
Jessica,
times they're
if they can kind of just structure that day out a little more clearly for us, and, just want to make sure that they have that commitment every Wednesday. Just seems like a lot of time. I mean, it's a great thing. I'm not,
And if it does save staff, I mean, we lose a room, but then we don't lose staff to having to do certain things. I mean, maybe there is a trade-off they can, I don't know.
They also made a second request. Someone is willing to donate a standard size fridge and freezer. So standard kitchen is all I would give it. They're asking if they can plug it in our food pantry.
are we doing perishable foods?
At this
No.
point, they only do perishable foods at that fourth Saturday, but they get it on Friday. So someone donated loaves and loaves and loaves of bread, and so it sits there Friday night, and then it's distributed and all gone on Saturday.
Is does anybody know, is there an area back there that's set up as far as, electrically to provide, power to these two machines?
Yeah.
Because those are usually dedicated circuits when you're plugging a freezer and a refrigerator in. Yeah, so that might be, something to look at.
But if they did, let's say the outlets do exist, do you mind?
I don't mind.
Well, it's not the outlet, it's just that what else is plugged into that circuit? It may have, they may have to be dedicated circuits.
But all things considering, are we okay with it?
I'm okay with it.
Okay, there you go.
If they've got-
Barring if it meets.
Well, it's just a great thing, it's just a lot of, they're promising a lot.
Right.
You want to make sure, they can deliver.
If that's going to be in the community room, is there going to be product in it when they're not using the room, and then you
Yeah,
got to
that's
be
gonna be
worried
fair.
about locking it off, or
Well, no, it's
it's in their
separate-
pantry?
It's a
Okay.
separate pantry.
The one thing I may suggest
Okay.
also, if it is allowed to be done, the one thing that does need to be fixed is that actual door that, into the pantry, it needs to be rekeyed. It's actually jimmy rigged so it doesn't, because the lock is unusable. So that was the one thing we may have to fix, is the actual handle and key, so that if there is going to be stuff in there, that they can shut it, lock it, then there's no worry about anybody going in there and taking stuff, you know.
They would have to be responsible then for getting the key to their volunteers, and, you know,
Right.
we can't be
Exactly.
managing all the volunteers coming in.
No, exactly, but I'm just saying,
Messing keys
I don't think you'd want, I mean, if there's gonna be that stuff in there, you may wanna have that a little more secure, and right now it's not secure.
We're overstepping at this point. We're good with.
Well, no, if the door,
All
the
right.
problem is if the door shuts now,
Goodness gracious.
you can't get in.
I know, Carl, but it doesn't make a difference with our choice.
Well,
Still
that'll
like
be
it.
a subject of conversation with the food pantry girls when we talk about
Yeah.
the timing and all that.
Greg's my closer. Oh, man, you're my closer, come on.
Actually, in the interest of time, I'm going to be very, very brief. We've put this on the website before. I know it was brought up in front of the board to register your home camera systems, especially you know, if you've got something recent and you've got some views of the streets. I can tell you just from the assistance I've provided to the investigations in the last 3-4 months, there's been over a dozen calls that have resulted in cameras somewhere assisting in the apprehension of people, or at least follow up in I don't want to say knowing who they are, but at least identifying them close enough to keep a trail on them. I don't want to go into detail, but the gist is that we do have it on our website where you can register your cameras. We've only got a few people that have done it so far, but I do think that it provides a great asset to the investigations unit when looking at crimes in the area, especially if it's somewhere they don't see a camera visible to the street. They might provide that information through the website, would really help out. So that's all I got.
All right. With that being said, I look for a motion and a second to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Tommy and Angelo, opposed? Ayes have it. We will move into the